Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser Boxing YouTube channel. Please guys, hit the subscribe button, we love subscribes. Today's YouTube blog, I'm going to cover a fight that's on this Saturday on the undercard to the Dillian Whyte versus Joe Parker fight. It's Dereck Chisora against Carlos Takam, two fighters that I've followed all the way through their careers for different reasons. Dereck Chisora first walked into a boxing gym in Finchley ABC, where I was just starting out as a coach. Never coached Dereck. I actually used to choose to sort of stay away from him because I used to watch him in sparring, and he was a little bit of a handful. So Johnny Oliver used to look after him mainly. Good trainer from Finchley ABC. Anyway, so the fight has been made. It's a bit of a weird one because Dereck, as we saw like against Klitschko, I think maybe the Klitschko, he was beaten by Klitschko, but he put up a very good sort of fight, a sound performance. I think it flattered him maybe a little bit because it was Vitaly Klitschko was maybe below par that night. I mean, he definitely was below par. When a lot of people expected a really good Klitschko to come and sort of smash Dereck, and it didn't happen. You know, Dereck actually he stood his ground with him and sort of didn't do badly at all. Did a huge credit to himself. Probably a career best performance, certainly on paper. But okay, his fizz seems to have dampened a little bit, Dereck, and I think that's very, very prominent to how I view this fight going, because Takam, although he's probably got more miles on the clock, Takam, you have that impression about him that he still has that fire burning, he still has ambition, he still wants to achieve things in boxing. Dereck, I mean, the Dillian Whyte fight is the exception. I mean, it's just he seems to have sort of petered out a little bit. Dillian Whyte fight was good, but I think the fact that Dillian himself actually fought a bit more of a macho fight rather than a technical one, and Dillian Whyte's not a bad boxer, you know, at that level. I think he could have outboxed Dereck quite significantly, you know, edged it. But he seemed like determined. Dillian seemed determined to sort of impose himself physically and show himself to be like the stronger guy. And you know, boxing sometimes it is about being stronger, but quite often it isn't. And sometimes, you know, like imagine like a jam jar. It's not about ripping the jam jar, it's about showing the technique. Turn the top and it comes off on its own. And I think that's what Dillian Whyte could have done in that fight, and he would have won it more clearly. But he got sort of drawn into this sort of macho, not wanting to give a millimetre, and that suited Dereck. Right, with Takam, you've got a guy who actually, that is his natural style, is to stand in front of you and impose himself and force you to work and to he sort of smothers guys out through his very quick movement and his head movements particularly, but he's very difficult to catch, as Anthony Joshua found out. Joshua was expected to wipe him out. I mean, I put a blog up, you see it's still on YouTube, you can have a look at it, where I was saying, no, this isn't an easy fight. And you have to understand, these African guys, he's a French African, Takam, they don't really get the call that often because African TV money isn't there, there isn't the same appeal, you know, and tickets wise they don't sell the same on the whole. So for sure Takam would have seen, right, Joshua's fighting, I'm getting ready. This though, he only had 3 weeks, whatever. It doesn't really add up, because I know what, you know, I've managed plenty of African guys and I know how they prepare themselves, and the reason they do it is because if the opponent falls through, they get the call, they're in condition to do it, no problem, they can go and deliver a good performance. And I'm certain that Takam was preparing before, hoping that Joshua, you know, would be calling him, looking for a last minute opponent, which he ended up doing. But so that was why I didn't think that this was a knockover. And Takam, although what he does, it doesn't look that technical because it involves a lot of like bustling and eating up space and sort of having this sort of rolling move inside. People, I think, sometimes mistakenly think that he's just some sort of brawler. He's absolutely not. He's a very clever fighter, and I think Chisora Dereck will probably suit him in that Dereck is he's actually not a bad pure boxer, Dereck. I mean, quite often he decides to go a different journey and you know, try and sort of maybe make it more physical. But I think that's a mistake against Takam, because Takam himself is a very strong, very physical guy, and Takam, you have to understand, has come from a pool of fighters as he's developed and come along, where most of them are that sort of style. They try and out-muscle you, out-sort-of-bully you, and he was like the cream of the crop of those guys. They were boxing as he went along, and he was showing himself to be the best one. In France, people were getting very excited with him. I remember arranging some sparring with him with Tyson Fury, and Tyson, you know, gave a very sort of high account of what happened. He said, you know, Takam, real tough guy, gave me some really good work. So back to this fight, right? I mean, if Dereck can find it to deliver an A1 performance, he has a chance of winning it. There's no doubt. He's capable of winning it. My gut feeling, I've got to say, I don't see in him the hunger, the sort of desperation to make it that you really want to see in a world-class fighter. You want to see a guy that leaves no stone unturned, that has prepared himself so diligently that it really feels to him like he's putting it all on the line on that night. And I don't get that now with Chisora. I'd love him to surprise me and actually do it, but he's had a lot of experience, he's had a lot of high-profile fights. Now he's probably towards the end of his career, and I saw a blog that described him as a journeyman. I think it was in the comments underneath the blog. I don't see Dereck Chisora as a journeyman. I would say at worst I would call him a gatekeeper. You know, like if you get beat by Dereck Chisora, you're either not good enough or you're not ready yet to go to that higher level. If he beats you, forget it. If you beat him, then you've got a plausible argument to say that you should be in the ratings, and you know, maybe not just Dereck alone, but it's a big stepping stone. I think it makes sense from the point of view that if they can start doing business with Takam. Takam's he's a world-class fighter. The only thing that he has against him is that he doesn't have like this massive following that some guys would have, which means that at the bargaining table you're slightly restricted to sort of negotiate the purse. But he can put up a good fight, and the fact that he put up such a good fight against Joshua, possibly now could be coming off a win against Chisora, and I don't know if this is the plan. I've had no mention of it from anyone, but being the cynic that I am, I do wonder, is the plan to put White against Parker, Chisora against Takam, the winners can fight each other. It at least keeps those guys engaged for the time being, meaning that Joshua, if he wants to go and fight like a champion from another governing body, like the WBC with the Bronze Bomber, Deontay Wilder, it would allow for them to do that, and he could then possibly unify all the titles, and it might fit. And the winner of the other sort of eliminators, if you like, can then go and fight. It gives them an extra event afterwards, where no doubt whoever loses out of Joshua and Wilder could get another win, and then they can roll that one back into the next one. We'll see. Guys, thank you for watching the Hellraiser YouTube channel. Please give us a subscribe, and I'll catch you again very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.